Welcome to Advent Bedtime Stories with Mrs. Yvonne. Now, I'm calling them Advent Bedtime Stories, although the stories are mostly all actually about Christmas and Jesus' birth and things around Christmas. But I'm going to be reading to you during Advent. Every Wednesday night there'll be an episode up for the next 4 weeks, and I'll be reading one or two of my favorite Christmas storybooks. And welcome to my home. Tonight I'm going to start with a book called Follow That Star. It's a story from a shepherd's perspective. Zach wasn't even there when the angels came. He was down the hill on the other side of the high thicket, grumbling and trying to count sheep in the dark. "Worst job in the world," he muttered. 21, 22, long hours, low wages, 23, 24. If he had looked behind him, he would have seen a halo of light around the hill, blazing like 1,000 candles. If he had stopped counting for a second and listened, he would have heard the soft music of 1,000 wind chimes and oboes. But he didn't turn around, he didn't listen, and he missed the angels. When he got back to the campfire, Ben and Josh weren't there. He found a note by his blanket. It said, "We've seen angels. We're going to Bethlehem." "Angels?" Zach exclaimed. "Lazy, that's what they are. Leaving me to do all the work. They're probably taking a snooze somewhere. Angels, my foot." He sat down against the tree and folded his arms across his chest. He humphed, he hemmed, and he hawed. Angels. He didn't believe in angels. He'd certainly never seen any. Then Zach noticed something on the grass, something sparkly and bright, like a fine morning dew. And there it was in the branches of the tree, too, glittering like droplets of ice. He'd heard stories about it, but he'd never believed it. "Angel mist," he whispered to himself. The night was... Whoops, get the page here. Zach began to feel left out. He'd never seen angels. Ben and Josh had seen angels. If it weren't for these dumb sheep. He looked off into the distance. Bethlehem was a long way, maybe 10 or 11 miles. It was further than he'd ever been. Who would look after the sheep? He couldn't leave them alone. They were the dumbest sheep in the world. They'd wander off and get into trouble. And there were sheep thieves everywhere. He'd have to take the whole flock with him. "Come on, sheep," he said, running down the hill. "We're going to Bethlehem." The night was clear and full of stars. Zach took deep breaths of the crisp, clean air. He felt happy. He was going to Bethlehem to see angels. Maybe he'd even catch up with Ben and Josh, and they could all walk together, laughing and telling stories. It wasn't long before Zach was very cold and very tired. He tried to keep all the sheep together, but they were slow and kept straying off the path. They tripped over one another's hooves. They bonked heads, trying to go in opposite directions. They forgot they were sheep and tried to hop like kangaroos. One of them even climbed up in a tree and sat there in the branches, bleating in confusion. "These are the dumbest sheep in the world," Zach shouted. Up ahead was an inn. Light danced behind the windows, and Zach could hear merry voices spilling out into the night. He went inside to get warm. "Where are you off to?" they asked him. "Bethlehem," he said. "Ben and Josh saw angels." "Angels!" they exclaimed. "Don't tell us you believe in angels, a man of your age." Zach's face colored. Well, I think I do, he said quietly. It's a long walk to Bethlehem, they said, and it's getting cloudy. Stay here with us. Zach nodded. He wanted to stay. It was warm and cozy at the inn, and he was very tired. But suddenly, the doors and windows blew open. The room was filled with wind and a most strange and wonderful smell. Angels, he said. That could only be the smell of angels. He ran outside and gathered his flock. He was going to Bethlehem if it was the last thing he did. He wanted to see angels. He wondered what they looked like. He could hardly wait to find out. Then Zach stopped and looked around. Oh, great, he mumbled. Now I'm lost. Hello? Said a trembling voice behind him. Is there anyone there? It was a very old man, lying in the shadows at the side of the road. I seem to have fallen down, he said. Zach rushed over and lifted the old man to his feet. He weighed hardly anything at all. Thank you very much, said the old man. Now, tell me, what's a shepherd doing on the road at this hour? I'm trying to get to Bethlehem, Zach told him. It's going to take you a long time with all those sheep. I know, sighed Zach. They're the dumbest sheep in the world. But what can I do? I've got to take care of them, and I don't want to lose any. Do you know the way to Bethlehem? Why do you want to go to Bethlehem? The old man asked. Angels, said Zach. There are angels there. Don't be ridiculous, said the old man. There's no such thing. Oh, yes, there is, said Zach firmly. I saw angel mist, and when I was at the inn, the windows blew open, and there was a wonderful smell, and... The old man smiled, pointed up at the sky, and said, Follow that star. Zach looked. Shining through a gap in the clouds was a huge, glistening star. Zach knew a thing or two about stars. He used them to find his way home in the dark. He could also tell them time by the stars. And he'd never seen a star like that one before. Thanks, said Zach. But the old man had already disappeared. Zach followed the star through the valley. He followed it over the next hill. He made his way by the light of this strange new star along the dusty, winding road, through sleeping villages, all the way to a shallow stream. When he got to the stream, his sheep wouldn't cross. I forgot, Zach moaned. My sheep don't like water. They're the dumbest sheep in the world. He was never going to get to Bethlehem at this rate. Can I help you? Said a voice beside him. Who are you? Zach asked. A carpenter, said the man. He wore a leather tool belt around his waist, and he led a mule carrying long pieces of wood. My sheep won't walk through this stream, Zach told him, and there's no bridge in sight. Don't worry, we'll build a bridge, said the man. It won't take long. They hammered and sawed. In no time at all, Zach and the carpenter had built a little bridge across the stream. Thank you very much, said Zach. Maybe I'll make it to Bethlehem after all. Good luck, said the carpenter. Hey, haven't I seen you somewhere before? Zach asked. There was something familiar about his face. I don't think so, said the carpenter. Remember, follow the star. Zach followed the star. Suddenly, a band of thieves sprang out of the shadows. We want your sheep, they yelled, waving their wooden clubs. You don't want these sheep, Zach said. They're the dumbest sheep in the world. We still want them, cried the thieves, and they came running at Zach. "Clear off!" boomed a huge voice from the darkness. It was a tall man in a cloak, waving a long, flashing sword. "Run!" the thieves yelled in terror, scrambling back into the shadows. "Thank you very much," said Zack. "Don't mention it," said the man in the cloak. "I'm sure I've seen you before," Zack said. It was the eyes. He'd seen those eyes somewhere before. "Follow the star," said the man, and he vanished from sight. Zack followed the star. It grew bigger and bigger. He was sure he was almost there. Then he came to a hill. It was so steep that the sheep kept falling down and tumbling back to the bottom. They lay there on their backs, bleating and baaing into the night sky. Zack felt like crying. He sat down on a nearby sheep and clasped his head in his hands. He was never going to get to Bethlehem. "Having sheep trouble?" a voice asked him. It was a young boy in shabby clothes. "My sheep can't get up the hill," Zack told him. "I'd carry them on my own back if I weren't so tired and there weren't so many of them." "You need a slingshot," said the boy. "What?" said Zack. "We could rig a slingshot between these two trees and fire the sheep to the top of the hill. I've done this kind of thing before." "Well, it's worth a try," said Zack. The boy stretched a long piece of leather between the trunks of two trees and pulled it back like a giant slingshot. Zack shoved in the first sheep. The boy let go, and the sheep was catapulted through the air, bleating in confusion. It landed on all fours on the top of the hill. "It works!" cried Zack. One after another, they fired Zack's sheep up the hill. From the hilltop, Zack could see the city of Bethlehem spread out before him. "I made it," said Zack to the boy. "I couldn't have done it without you." "Well," said the boy, "did you think we'd forget about you? The others sent me back to find you." "Hey!" cried Zack. "I'm sure I've seen you somewhere before. You've got the same eyes as the old man and the carpenter and the man with the sword." The boy shed his shabby clothes. He spread his wings and soared up into the sky, mist and light trailing from him. A wonderful smell filled the night air. "You're an angel!" Zack exclaimed. "I've seen an angel!" "That's nothing," laughed the angel. "Wait until you see what's in Bethlehem." "You mean there's more?" asked Zack. "Oh, yes, much more," said the angel, his voice like wind chimes and oboes. "In a manger in a stable, you'll find what you've come all this way to see. It's something wonderful, something that's going to change the world." "How do I find the right stable?" Zack asked. But he already knew the answer. He looked up into the sky and saw the star. All he had to do was follow it. And that's the story of Zack, who met angels along the way as he followed the star. And I'm going to read you another little story. One of my newer, that one I've had for over 25 years, this book. And this is a book I actually just picked up the last couple of years, written quite a long time ago though too. And it's about Pippin the Christmas pig. So now let's find out what a pig has to do with Christmas. Pippin stared at Noddy, the grumpy old donkey. "Noddy, you look all excited," she said. "Of course I'm excited," he said. "It's Christmas tomorrow." "What's Christmas?" Pippin asked. What's Christmas? Naughty repeated. Everybody knows about Christmas. The tips of Pippin's ears went very pink. I hope you remember that my family gave the first gift, Naughty went on. The baby's mother rode on a donkey all the way to Bethlehem. Christmas could not even begin until she got there. My great-great-great-grandmother gave her manger for the baby's bed, said Bess with a gentle moo. Without her, they would have had to put the baby to sleep on the floor. The best present was that manger. What baby? What manger? Pippin begged. Nobody noticed her. And I still don't know what Christmas is. The hay in that manger was full of prickles, muttered Curly. One of my family had to give the mother a lamb's fleece to cushion the rough bed. The soft wool was a welcome gift, I can tell you. But where were the pigs? Demanded Pippin. Christmas has nothing to do with pigs, said Bess. What present could a pig give a baby anyway? If there were donkeys and cows and sheep, there must have been pigs, Pippin said. But nobody was listening. My very great-grandfather sang him to sleep, said Coo-roo the pigeon. Pippin stamped her tiny hoof. But what did the pigs do? She said. They must have been there and done something. Then Bess spoke up. Pippin, face it. What could pigs have given a holy child? Pigs have nothing worthy. Pippin hung her head. Slowly, she went toward the barn door. She pushed the door open and went outside. Nobody noticed her leaving. I'm going where pigs matter, but Christmas doesn't, Pippin announced in a shaking voice, and I won't come back. Never, ever. Snowflakes stung her eyes and frosted the tips of her ears. She almost fled back inside, but she forced herself to go forward. The cold was bitter. Soon Pippin could no longer see the barn through the whirling snow. She passed a tattered scarecrow who waved one ragged arm at her. Further on, she saw a blue jay with its feathers all blown backward. It was too miserable to warn the world of the little pig's passing. Pippin's feet hurt, and her tail stiffened into a curly icicle. But she had sworn never to go back. They didn't want her. They had said pigs were good for nothing. Far down the road, Pippin stopped to catch her breath. She glimpsed a woman coming toward her, carrying a baby in her arms. The woman wore no gloves or hat, and her jacket was thin. And the baby, so sound asleep that her head nodded on her mother's shoulder, looked too heavy for her to carry much further. Poor things, Pippin murmured, forgetting her own troubles for a moment. The woman crooned to her baby. Maybe we can find a nice warm barn to rest in. Pippin knew where to find a warm barn, but she had sworn never to return there. But this was an emergency. Follow me, she grunted and nudged the woman along. Suddenly, Pippin felt a little warmer. Even the Scarecrow's smile looked friendlier. At the barn door, the little pig pushed ahead. "Listen to me," she called to the animals. "Don't interrupt, Pippin," said Naughty. "We're making Christmas plans." "I don't care," Pippin yelled. "Whatever Christmas is, it was long ago. I have a baby here who needs a place to sleep right now." Gently, the woman laid her baby down in the manger sweet hay. "It's Christmas all over again," she whispered. "Bless you, little pig." She settled onto a nearby heap of hay. "It is warm here, warm and safe." "My word, they're both asleep already," Kuru whispered a moment later. Then all the animals stared at Pippin. "We can't take in some homeless nobody," Naughty began. "We'll need milk," Pippin said. "We'll need soft, warm wool. We'll need your old blanket, Naughty. We'll need lullabies. Your very great-grandparents aren't here. You must help this baby yourselves." "But that's not a special baby," Naughty protested. "Of course she is," said Pippin. "All babies are special." "You are right," Naughty said. "I'd forgotten." When the farmer and his wife came out to feed the animals, they saw the young woman and the baby. "It's Christmas," the man said softly, "right here in our barn. It's a miracle." "Hush," his wife whispered. "Let them sleep for now." When they left, Pippin looked around. She saw Naughty's warm blanket, Curly's soft wool, Bess's manger and milk. Her tail drooped. "None of these gifts is for me," she said. "Pigs really do not have anything to give." The other animals looked down at her. "Oh, Pippin, what a silly you are," Bess said softly. "You gave us our very own Christmas. You gave us a chance to give ourselves instead of boasting about our grandparents. Don't you see that that was the best gift of all?" "It took a runty pig," laughed Naughty, "to teach us what Christmas is." And that is Pippin the Christmas Pig. So in the next few weeks during this month of December, as you prepare to celebrate Jesus' birth, remember that Christmas is about giving. And it's about giving of ourselves. So look for ways that you can give to others in these next few weeks as you get ready to celebrate Christmas. That's it for tonight. I'll see you next week. Bye.